So Vigilantes, Arrow is back with episode 10 with a very, very strong episode all about Emiko Queen. Well, you'd expect that because this episode is called My Name is Emiko Queen. So let's review this episode. How's it going, Vigilantes? Welcome back to a brand new Arrow Season 7 Episode 10 review and breakdown. Now, this episode was a lot better than what I was expecting. I didn't want to set my expectations too high for the back half of this season, just because Arrow did really well in its first half of Season 7, and I just didn't want to get massively overhyped, as I just said, really to set myself up for maybe a bit of disappointment. But this episode was really, really awesome. Naturally, it was called My Name is Emiko Queen, so it was really quite a lot about her, and I felt maybe why this episode was really interesting to me is because I knew quite a bit about the whole Emiko Queen stuff beforehand. Maybe you did as well. They accidentally revealed the name of this episode quite a while back before it was switched to Shattered Lives and then switched back again to My Name is Emiko Queen. So ever since we got that mid-season finale, that episode didn't really feel like a satisfying mid-season finale for me when we saw Emiko with her father's grave at the very ending scene, I believe. And I feel like this episode would have been a very good mid-season finale, especially with that ending scene between Oliver and Emiko. I don't know, I just felt like that would have been like, oh man, I really want to see what would happen after the Christmas break between those two, but we're getting that next week, but that's neither here nor there. The beginning of this episode was just really, really fantastic. Emiko Queen catching like the bad guys at the beginning. The soundtrack was so thrilling. I just love that kind of really cool, I don't know how else to put it other than thrilling vigilante-esque Arrow music when they're just showing the badass montage scenes between her taking people down, ticking people off the list like it's nobody's business. Just Emiko's life, which is kind of badass. It's like, even though I'm complaining that, you know, we've got Arrow Cop at the minute, I mean, I like it, but we have no Oliver Queen with the mask and stuff. Well, we've got that with Emiko, and I'm just gonna say that is still pretty awesome. But before I dive into anything else in this episode, guys, be sure to subscribe to this channel if you want to see more Arrow videos just like this. I will be posting the trailer after this in several hours time, so be sure to check out the cards above if it's there. And other than that, like this video if you do go on to enjoy it, as it really, really does show your support for the channel. So of course, at the beginning of this episode, guys, if you've been staying a little bit up to date with what we could expect in this episode from the trailers, you would know that they got a blood sample from Emiko Queen, the copycat Green Arrow. Felicity would be running the DNA on it, and we've got that moment right at the beginning where she breaks in. She used that knockout arrow, which is very obviously meant to sedate people or put them to sleep, but somehow they just woke up like 3 minutes later, if that. So that didn't work well, and I just don't really get why, but okay. But ultimately, yeah, she actually gets shot by the security guards in the building. I don't think they were SCPD officers. She obviously breaks out the window. That's where some blood gets on the glass, and that's how that sets up that part of this episode. But I love when she went to Renee in the episode, and he just said the comment like, stubbornness comes with the suit, and that couldn't be any more true if you know anything about the Green Arrow suit and who's worn it before. And as for Oliver and Arrow Cop and everything like that, we barely got anything about that in this episode. We just got Oliver looking at the crime scene with Dinah, and of course, you know, he took that blood sample back to Felicity, you know, so she analyzed the DNA from the crime scene. And Oliver just dropped that we're not even on the same continent as Roy, so I wonder what that means. Like, where is he? Is he like on Lian Yu right now? I don't think so. Obviously, from the flash forwards, we need to take into account that something happened in Star City with Roy in the past, so that is still yet to come. So where do you think Roy is right now? I just thought that was quite a intentional drop right there from the writers to get us thinking maybe a little bit. But also in this moment, I was really pleasantly surprised. I thought from when Felicity was running that DNA sample, you would have, I've mentioned this in my trailer breakdowns, it's like, well, technically Oliver's DNA would be on the database. I'm sure she would have something like that. So would it pop up? But I was thinking that it wouldn't, just because I don't think they're going to, you know, roll the ball that quickly. I thought they would maybe drag this out a bit longer. But no, she was literally straight up like, yep, this is, you know, your DNA, not Thea, but on your father's side. I was like, holy crap, they actually went there, and they've already told Oliver Queen that he has another sister out there. I was really happy about this at this point in the episode, and it really locked me in with a really thorough interest, because I was like, okay, this is already going to be the story. Oliver's going to have to meet Emiko now, and everything from here on out isn't going to be dragged out between them. But like, I really do want to say that Felicity this episode is exactly the way I just want her to be. She wasn't in our faces. There wasn't any Felicity drama. She wasn't doing the wobbly Oliver voice that, you know, that comes with the drama or seriousness. This is Felicity as I think she is at her best. She's there playing alongside Stephen Amell or whoever it is in the room at the time investigating. She's being quirky, she's being funny, and I don't know what else to say other than this is the Felicity Smoak I like. Going back to Oliver, they didn't leave it there with him. Like, he found out that the account, when they wanted to look into the secret side of his father, because Oliver knows a thing or two about his father and maybe how they can find more stuff out about offshore accounts and whatnot, it was in Moira's name, his mother's name. So that was just a bit of a troll. It's like, oh god, like the queens, you know, there's been plenty of drama in the first couple of seasons with how dodgy Moira's been in the past. Either way, I just thought, is Oliver going to get a break here? Will he ever get a break? And in addition to this, I do just want to say Stephen Amell's acting was really on point this episode. I felt like quite teary in some moments when he was just talking about, you know, how he felt sorry for Emiko or Emiko, whatever way you want to say it. They definitely did say it different ways this episode between different actors. But I guess I'm referencing the point of when he was reading the letter to Walter that his father gave to him, where like literally the opening line was just like, oh, I need you to right one more wrong. I feel like that needs to be a meme now. Just, I swear, Oliver's father is just always trying to get people to right his wrong. I know that's a bit of a dry meme, but like, come on. I definitely laughed when that happened, even though it was meant to be a serious moment. I was like, oh, for crying out loud. God damn it, Mr. Queen. Even though he wanted Walter to take care of them, Oliver said himself they clearly weren't taken care of. So, Felicity said that was something to do with, I'm pretty sure Moira had something to do with that, so I'm guessing Walter got like kind of whipped by Moira saying, no, we're not taking care of anything like that, screw them, this was an affair, blah, 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 blah. I'm guessing that's how it kind of went, but either way, Oliver feels like really, really bad about this, and that's what made the ending of this episode so powerful for me and probably a lot of the audience, because he only wants to get to know his sister, he only kind of feels sorry for her and just wants to make up the wrongs of his father's still today to try and make up for her being abandoned and her mother being abandoned, but I'll get to that in a second. But this is what really got me engaged in this episode with Oliver's story and Emiko's. Now I'm going to quickly press into the Diaz stuff this episode, or should I say Diggle and Lila and Argus stuff. Essentially we had Diggle and Lila trying to offer Diaz a deal. Well, actually this was Diggle at this point in time, and this created a little bit of a wedge between Diggle and Lila, and I feel like it is a little bit of the rehash of the same old, oh, you tried to undermine my authority here, or just kind of the working relationship. It's always the same drama between Diggle and Lila. I was okay with it, but I would prefer them to just crack on with this storyline, this whole Dante storyline with Argus and this corruption stuff without any of that crap involved. I know like that it does make it very difficult, and this is what really made me interested in this storyline a lot more than what I thought it would be, and that's the fact that Diggle offered Diaz freedom if he gives them information, and that's really big stuff. And I don't necessarily think they're bluffing either, because they're desperate to try and sort this Argus storyline out. So I guess when you're desperate, you're going to do desperate things. And that's like offering Diaz some form of freedom. And obviously the interesting part of this is that would really drive a wedge between Team Arrow even more than what's already happening. I mean, the Team Arrow isn't really a thing anymore compared to previous seasons. So now think how Felicity and Oliver will feel about that kind of offer that's been made behind their backs. Other than that, I found it really cool how they kind of blamed it on, you know, this whole thing, because obviously we had the deputy director or whatever come down, poke his nose into all this, and they were like, yeah, we're going to rationalize the Ghost Initiative, which is aka the Suicide Squad Mark II. A massive poker to that was the fact that at the end of this episode, or towards the end in these scenes, Diaz got a bomb implanted into his head for a failsafe, and I really like that chilling performance from Kirk. Ace Feeder, I believe his name is. He was just essentially saying to Lila, you better think this will work, because if not, or whatever, the second this kind of slides, I will be coming after you once he figures out how to get that bomb out of his brain. And when the villain teases something like that, it's probably going to happen. I doubt he's just going to have this bomb in his brain and he's going to be safely tucked away at Argus under their thumb for the rest of time. So we've got something to look forward to there in terms of Diaz. Do not take your eye off the ball there, guys. And also, whatever you think about Wild Dog, guys, I have to say his storyline is very interesting to me. All season long, really, really is the case. Back in season 5, I believe, when they were first introduced, I really wasn't a big Wild Dog fan, and I know people still aren't the biggest Wild Dog fans out there, but I feel like his story and his character is being fleshed out more than quite a lot of other people. I even felt kind of sorry for him, and there's something that I kind of feel as well. You just want the Team Arrow to be back together, going at it like they used to, but he talks about being alone. Other people in the team found ways of being heroes after Oliver went to prison, but he's just kind of been alone, running around with Emiko, if anything. So he kind of wants to have his own little branch like everyone else has seemed to have found with Emiko. And that's kind of what happens this episode. And Emiko does, you know, kind of learn to trust him. She explains how last year there was a fire in, you know, their apartment. There was no survivors, and the fire didn't even kill her mother. It was a bullet. And she's been kind of tricked into thinking that it is William Glenn Morgan, I believe his name is, who put the bullet in her mother's head. And that's what stems these two, and even Curtis, to get involved this episode to investigate Emiko's mother. It gets even more layers of interesting with what we find out when they actually go in to break into William's house. William Glenn Morgan, this guy who she's been thinking this entire time has murdered her mother. And that was a whole cool scene as well. Emiko was versus William with his weird ass blades. That was just really, really cool. But anyway, turns out it wasn't him who killed her mother. Because, you know, his alibi worked out about being away on a covert mission or whatever for the past 2 years. So ultimately, this storyline just left me feeling like I'm looking forward to seeing more of Renee and Emiko work together, even though there's a bunch of other stuff to look forward to, like, oh, what's going to happen between Oliver and Emiko. This is really strong for me, and this is what I was kind of concerned about. Would I be maintaining an interest in stuff like this in the back half? But so far, really, really solid. But nearly lastly, guys, I want to talk about those flash forward scenes, which were very interesting within themselves as well. They felt a bit different this episode, mainly because I think for most of the flash forward scenes in this episode, they didn't have that bluish, weird kind of filter over it. And I feel like that's when you're kind of outside Star City, like when Zoe went to the Glades to see her father. And I think because the Glades is meant to be this kind of paradisey place compared to like where Star City is like a shithole, if you know what I mean, it just doesn't have that filter over it. So anyway, it was super weird seeing Wild Dog with that wig on. It just was. I mean, it worked. It definitely did work, like the way they faded it in at the back there and stuff like that. I don't think the wig was very bad, but it was just weird because we've always seen Wild Dog be like, what, grade 1 or 2 on his head or something. But the reason why Zoe went there is because of this Archer program. Now, this Archer program wiped out crime pretty much everywhere in the Glades, so Zoe wants the SCPD to have access to that because essentially this whole plan to blow up Star City can hopefully be sussed out if they had access to the Archer program. And from what I can gather, the Archer program is just like a shite ton of CCTVs all around the city. Like, you could practically see everywhere, and I guess if you ran a Felicity like algorithm, you could pick up bombs or something like that. That's what I'm kind of gathering from this. It kind of reminds me of like in the Nolan films where Batman had, you know, access to that technology that was really too powerful within the wrong hands. You could find out anything and everything in the city if you wanted to, so I'm not sure if they're trying to like say this is kind of like that. I found it super interesting seeing Dinah interact with Renee in the future. It definitely seems like there's some bad blood between them, but yet a very sincere sentimentality at the same time, mainly from Dinah's side. You definitely saw it with Renee too, but you know, when Renee was just talking about Felicity saying, oh, she's a criminal, criminals like to blow things up, when confronted with the plans that Dinah showed him, he seemed pretty cold about it, but as soon as he heard Felicity was dead, you could see in his eyes that really mattered to him. Very interesting, the comment from Dinah where she says, last time we fought, it didn't end very well for you. So I wonder if Arrow goes on long enough if we're going to see this kind of stuff. But these time jumps are quite far into the future. So either way, looking forward to see what happened there. Why Renee split from the group and why he even fought the group as well, which is super duper interesting. But I like how Dinah tried to appeal to even more sentimentality of the old team and the old ways for showing him the Marker 4. Providing him the information of why that bloody symbol exists in the first place so they can help each other whenever each other needs help in that group, essentially. And don't forget the oath you kind of made with that. But of course, the twist that made these flash forwards super interesting as well, beyond the fact that they are intriguing anyway because it's the future. Renee said that to this random ass guy who seems to be a part of that organization who wants to blow up the city, like, oh, she has the plans. So, you know, that's a guy who is literally a part of that group. And, you know, he confronted her about Felicity and he said that Felicity was becoming a liability. She had to be dealt with. And Renee was definitely acting at this point. I think he's got himself involved in something for sure. But when he says, oh, that's not a problem for me, it obviously is. He definitely does care about Felicity's death. He was lying to that guy about it not being a problem there and then. But I think he's got to probably go over to Dinah's side eventually, but he seems to be stuck in the middle of something that he has to kind of play both sides on at the minute. And other than that, guys, in this episode, as I mentioned earlier, it's when Oliver approached Emiko at the grave at the end. That was really kind of emotional, and I can't wait to see those two interact. I know the promo of the next episode shows a bit of that, and I'll talk about that in my promo breakdown, but I hope that she will, through Oliver appealing to her, know that Oliver has nothing to do with any of this. He quite literally doesn't, and I hope she understands that and takes his help, and they start to develop their relationship from here on out, because why not? Either way, guys, really happy with this episode. As you can probably tell, it was a great episode to come back to, and it's got me looking forward to the rest of the season. So I would love to know all of your thoughts down in the comments below, as usual. Like this video if you did enjoy the review and breakdown. As always, guys, subscribe if you're brand new here as well, if you want to see more Arrow reviews and breakdowns just like this. Links, as always, are in the description down below to my Instagram and other social media and other places to follow me and merch and everything like that. But thank you so much for watching, Vigilantes. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.